You ever hear about a guy snatching up a $10 million lakefront property for just 25 cents and nearly losing it all because some HOA queen figured he was too dumb or too broke to fight back? Yeah, that's me. Buckle up, because this story isn't just about beating the odds. It's about dragging every entitled bully into the daylight and then building something beautiful out of their wreckage. You know what I mean? I'm Marcus Kane, divorced plumber, self-taught fixer, the guy who smells like pine sap and hope on a good day. A year ago, I was just another burnout, 52-year-old scraping by in a Denver apartment, eating microwave dinners and dodging calls from my ex, Jennifer, who took half my life when she left. But she didn't take my truck, and she sure didn't take my drive. See, my old man was a carpenter. Taught me to see gold where others saw garbage. That's how I ended up in some dingy courthouse on a Tuesday morning, hands shaking as the auctioneer rattled off addresses, my heart pounding every time someone raised a paddle. Then I saw it. 15 acres, abandoned lakefront cabin, minimum bid, 25 cents. People thought I was nuts. But the photo, man, even through all the rot and shattered glass, I saw the bones were solid. Within hours I was standing on that land, Lake Serenity, watching the morning light hit the Rockies and thinking, this is it. Hand-hewn logs, foundation straight as my pipe levels. Needed work, sure, electrical, plumbing, everything but hope. But it was mine, or so I thought. First day on site, still reeling from the fresh pine I'd just cut, this white Escalade glides up like a shark in a wedding dress. Out steps Delilah Thornfield. You know the type. Expensive hair, boots that cost more than my first apartment, legal papers flapping like she just conquered Rome. This property belongs to the HOA now, she says, her smile dripping with that brand of condescension you only get from someone who's never carried drywall up 3 flights of stairs. She waves the papers, community standards, demolition orders, the whole shebang. And then, right to my face, she says, people like you usually find it easier to just walk away. People like me. Blue collar, never went to college, doesn't know his rights. That's when I knew I wasn't just fighting for my cabin. I was fighting every time someone called me sweetie, like I couldn't read a contract. And just like that, the war began. Day after day, she sent her minions, her nephew Bryce, who looked like he peaked as a hall monitor, writing $500 fines for parking, for making noise, for not having petunias in my construction zone. Every day, some new citation, some fresh attempt to bleed me out by paper cuts. But see, I'd been around bureaucracy before. I knew how to read the fine print. So I hit the county records, dug through enough dust to give a cockroach asthma, and found the magic phrase, pre-existing non-conforming use. My cabin predated the HOA by 40 years. Legally, they had nothing. Found a scrappy paralegal named Zoe who actually gave a damn. She filed a challenge. Every citation became worthless. But I didn't stop there. I started posting videos, restoration progress, classic rock soundtracks, before and after shots that made strangers root for a broke plumber from Denver. Comments exploded, people cheering me on, hardware stores offering discounts, half the neighbors sneaking me notes of support. The other half, they just found their flower beds real interesting every time I walked by. Then came the first twist, a note under my wiper. She's done this before. Check the Kellerman property. Sure enough, 20 minutes away there's a vacant lot where a home used to be. Delilah had driven the Kellermans out. Citations, fines, permit problems, the works. Her husband's construction company swooped in, bought the land for a song, flipped it for 6 figures. I was next on her menu. But I wasn't alone anymore. My online army was growing. One night, I stood on the half-finished porch, pine sap on my hands, and told the camera, they think paperwork's gonna break me, but every citation means I'm getting closer. My DMs filled with electricians, lawyers, even a retired judge, Harold Whitmore, who saw right through Delilah's nonsense. He found procedural errors in every action she took, enough to turn her campaign into legal Swiss cheese. And then the news got involved. Sarah Martinez, a local reporter, reached out, wanted to know why a plumber's fight was blowing up on social media. She dug into Delilah's past, found years of complaints. My story went viral. Donations started rolling in, 25 grand in a week, enough to keep me fed and fighting. But Delilah wasn't done. She hit back with the nuclear option, fraud allegations. Claimed I'd tricked the county, started a criminal investigation, got the sheriff knocking at my door with a stack of paperwork and a face full of regret. My name splashed across local news as the cabin con man. Lost clients, lost money, lost sleep. But I didn't break. Harold kept digging and found Delilah's fatal flaw. Her HOA never even existed on paper. No incorporation, no authority, no right to issue a single fine. She'd been bluffing from day one. County records showed my property was never in the HOA boundaries. Every threat, every legal action, worthless. And then came the real bombshell. Cleaning the basement, I pried open a wall and found a rusted metal box. Inside, the original 1962 deed, surveyor maps, and, tucked in yellowed plastic, a mineral rights assessment. Turns out there was lithium, copper, even traces of gold under my feet. 8 to 12 million bucks, easy. Delilah knew. Her father surveyed the land. She wasn't after community standards. She wanted the lottery ticket under my cabin. Next thing you know, I've got mining companies calling, offering 8 million cash. Could have walked away rich and left it all behind. But you know what? After building that place with my own hands, watching families come together, seeing what a community could be, I wanted more than money. So, I set up a public trust, 90% of the land conserved, a handful of eco-cabins, the rest funding local schools and jobs. The community went wild, businesses backing me, universities coming in for research, people from all over offering help. Delilah panicked, sent thugs to sabotage equipment, vandalized trucks, sent threats to elderly volunteers. Her nephew Bryce caught on camera, bumbling around like a glow-stick ninja, slashing tires. My insurance dropped me for terrorism risk, but by then, the FBI was in. Agent Foster, sharp as a tack, digging through Delilah's mountain of debt and embezzlement. Jerry, my PI, unearthed foreclosure notices and her plan to rob Peter and sue Paul with HOA dues. When Delilah tried to bribe me with a briefcase full of cash, 500 grand on my kitchen table, I let her finish, recording every word. She offered $1 million. Then she hired actors to protest the conservation park, chained themselves to equipment with toy chains, chanted nonsense until the sheriff started checking IDs. Half had outstanding warrants. The final act? Delilah sent an anonymous tip to the DEA, said I was cooking meth in the basement. Whole SWAT team showed up, found nothing but coffee and sawdust. The tip came from a burner phone registered to her address. That was it. FBI moved in, locked down every piece of evidence. And then, justice. The HOA meeting was packed. Media, neighbors, cameras everywhere. Delilah tried to flip the narrative, call me a criminal, dissolve the project. I played the receipts, Harold's timeline of her threats, Jerry's financial records, video of Bryce's sabotage, Sarah's expose on the fake HOA. The crowd erupted. Then Agent Foster strode in, read Delilah her rights, and slapped the cuffs on, her designer outfit clashing with county orange. Bryce, too. Phones flashing, people cheering, neighbors crying and hugging. I stood there, presenting the future, jobs, community benefits, a park that would outlast all of us. By the time it was over, Delilah's empire was dust. She got 8 years in federal prison, $15 million restitution. The families she'd hurt finally saw justice. My little tax deed cabin became a national model. Ecotourism, education, legal self-defense against HOAs. 6 months later, I'm on the dock, watching the sun dip behind the Rockies, Sarah Martinez at my side, planning our lakeside wedding. The air smells like pine and possibility. Kids laughing in the park that almost got bulldozed for greed. Local businesses booming, veterans finding peace, folks learning how to fight back and win. So yeah, they tried to steal my property for 25 cents, figured I'd fold. But they forgot something. The best revenge is building something beautiful out of the ashes. If you've ever been bulldozed by an HOA, or just want to see justice land where it belongs, share your story down below. I read every single one. Who knows? Maybe your battle is the next David versus Goliath. And trust me, around here, David always wins.